and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Oh man, things are not going well for Kamala. Kamala Harris, who looked like a little child, a little person sitting at that Dana Bash interview with Tim Walz the other day. Things are just campaigns going down the tubes. Did you guys catch Trump in Michigan? The speech, or I'm sorry, the in Pennsylvania. Trump in Pennsylvania yesterday. That might have been his greatest speech ever. It was incredible, wasn't it? It was amazing. I got a poll on Michigan, which we're going to get to in a bit. But that Pennsylvania speech last night was amazing. You could feel the energy inside of Trump that he knows he's got it. He knows he's winning it. Oh, yeah. Mark is predicting a MAGA landslide. Absolutely. Now, of course, we've got to have a massive turnout. I'm hoping that Trump gets 100 million votes, and I know you guys do too. Don't you guys want Trump to get 100 million votes? Of course you do. Oh, yeah. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm going to go through some stories and play some audio here. But, that not only was Trump's speech incredible in Pennsylvania yesterday, but a while before he came up, Stephen Miller came up to the podium. I didn't realize Stephen Miller was from that area, and he just spelled it all out for him. Yeah, I know. It's absolutely amazing. But my favorite senator, Senator Kennedy, isn't he awesome? He's got a few things to say here. Let's just start with this.
Some people don't like President Trump, and I know some people don't like Vice President Harris. But I would remind folks that you're not picking a spouse here or a life partner. You're picking the President of the United States. And that decision, your decision, should be based on the candidate's policies and their records.
That's right. Yeah. This thing about people not liking Trump. Why would someone not like Trump? Right? Why would you not like Trump? If there's somebody in the chat that doesn't like Trump, explain it to us. I just don't. I don't quite get that. It makes no. Yeah, Trump derangement syndrome. There's not a real clear explanation for it. Exactly. Trump derangement syndrome is not a logical condition. That is for sure. It's an illogical condition that people suffer from. But Senator Kennedy is awesome. Yeah, he's always good. But what he said is true. While I don't understand why everyone doesn't love Trump, there are some people who don't. I don't quite understand that. But what he said is true. You're not getting married here. You're not looking for your best friend or roommate. You're voting for somebody that's going to get this country back on track. And we got a lot of problems going on because we've had almost 4 years of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden wrecking the country and the world. And think about it. And what do we see from Kamala Harris and Joe Biden is them not caring about Americans. They care about South Americans. They don't care about Americans. And that pisses people off, on top of the fact that things are going so poorly in the country, right? If things were going poorly, but Kamala and Biden were trying to fix things, then, some of these people that are jumping on the Trump train wouldn't be. But they are not. I give you an example. This California bill that they just passed in their state legislature. Listen to this. A bill passed by the California state legislature on Wednesday would make illegal immigrants in California eligible for cash assistance to buy homes. Now, we don't know if Governor Newsom's going to sign it or not. It's AB 840 is the name of it. Illegal immigrants with Social Security or taxpayer identification numbers. Does it have to be their own Social Security number, or can they have somebody else's? Would qualify for a program called California Dream for All that gives first-time home buyers up to $150,000, with recipients only having to pay interest if they sell the property. So they don't have to pay back the $150,000. So can you buy a house like today and then sell it tomorrow and get to keep all that money? I guess you can. And this whole thing that illegals, they call them dreamers. This is called California Dream for All. Why are illegals in this country, according to liberals, have some guarantee to have their dreams come true? I mean, don't you guys have? I have dreams. I'll win the lottery. I'd like to win. My dream is to win the Powerball tonight, right? So I can retire. Am I entitled to that? Well, if I'm an illegal, I guess so. I'm surprised they're not passing a bill so that illegals win the lottery. I mean, it's so bizarre that they think that illegals have a right and are entitled to have their dreams come true. I don't understand. They're not even legal immigrants. And by the way, this bill in California says illegal immigrants who have Social Security numbers or tax IDs. Tax ID is like a business. If they're illegal, how do they have those things? Yeah, their dreams to bring their country to us. Well, that one seems to be coming true unless, we get an overwhelming support and Trump wins. If Trump does not win, yeah, their dream will come true. Mm-hmm. Welcome, everyone. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Really? You can be an illegal and get an employee identification number? Oh, my goodness. That's crazy. It really is stupid, really, if you think about it. Really stupid. But, the question is, will Newsom sign it? Because, Newsom has a fantasy that he's going to be president in 4 years. Yeah, he can keep dreaming. Canada is where the rest of the country will be in a few years. And California is where our country will be in a few years if, Canada, what's going on in Canada is insane. I mean, they have totally lost all their freedom of speech. In Brazil, they banned Twitter. In California, you've got an economic system that the rest of the country will be following in a few years if Kamala wins. So who's going to elect the governor of California to be the president of the United States? You have to be out of your freaking mind. Newsom sucks, yeah. He certainly does suck, yeah. Yep. 1 year left of Trudeau, yeah, and they'll plug in some other jerk globalist after that. Well, no, Trump's going to stop them. Trump is going to stop. Did you guys like Trump's speech in Michigan? Was Trump's Michigan, or I keep saying Michigan because I got the poll from Michigan. Trump in Pennsylvania was absolutely amazing last night. Did you guys catch that? His Pennsylvania speech last night was, I was blown away by it. I think it was one of his best speeches, the one last night in Pennsylvania. Now, Nancy Pelosi, she went on with Bill Maher. Listen.
California lawmakers just passed a law. It hasn't been signed by Governor Newsom, but giving government assistance to undocumented immigrants to buy houses.
Oh, my goodness. Who's going to give a loan to someone that has no documents and is a criminal? Well, I guess.
That's kind of a different place than the Democratic Party used to be on immigration, is it not? I'm not going to say that's what the country's going to do, but that's certainly where California is.
Well, let me just say, immigration had always been a bipartisan issue. I refer you to the...
But not free houses.
Well, that's not free housing. It's the American dream being available to more people. But
oh, my goodness.
Understand this about immigration. The best speech on immigration was by President Ronald Reagan. This is the last speech I will make as President of the United States. I want to communicate a message to the country I love. And you talked about the Statue of Liberty and the...
Is she going to tell... Is Nancy Pelosi... I love how all of a sudden, Democrats have all this respect for Ronald Reagan. Is Nancy Pelosi about to tell us that President Reagan would support giving free houses to illegals?
Beacon of hope it is to the world, and what America was preeminent in the world because our door was always open, and we will cease to be preeminent when we shut the door. Now, I don't do justice to the great communicator. Google it. It's a fabulous speech. And George Herbert Walker Bush continued in that respect for the diversity of America and the rest. California's always in the lead. Maybe others will follow that lead, but that's up to those states.
They're not leading. They're like going the opposite way. They're not. They're regressing in California. I guess because Ronald Reagan was from California. Well, it's not the same California.
But we're very blessed here with beautiful diversity.
So you'd vote for this law?
Excuse me?
So you'd vote for this law?
Well, I'm not familiar with exactly what it is, but making the American dream of home ownership available to all people is something we have to do for people who are here now.
This is before your residency. This is undocumented. This is for the undocumented.
Yeah.
Well, what I would like to do is move them to documented.
Oh, okay. Let's just make them legal then, and then give them free houses. You know, the thing about the free housing, and this is a very important point to be made. Thing about free housing, okay? They're going to give them $150,000 towards a down payment. Typically, the standard to buy a house is you got to have 20% cash down. You put down on the house. Then you got to have proof of income, steady income, good credit, and then you get approved. And there's a reason for that, okay? The reason that they want you to put money down is so that you have an investment in that home that you're not going to walk away from, right? Like my house here, I bought this house 20 years ago, and my wife and I, we had a very nice condo, and we sold it, and we took all the money from the condo and put it as a down payment on the house, all of it, and it was we made a lot of profit because we sold at a high point in the market, and so when you do that, you're gonna keep the house. You're gonna do whatever you got to do to keep the house and not let it go into foreclosure because you have your own money in that down payment invested into the house. The mortgage crisis of 2008 that caused a major financial crisis, right? Remember that? They made that movie Margin Call about it. It was actually the subprime mortgage crisis, and it was in large part due to California. President Carter had set up a federal program that had gotten out of control, and they were giving new houses to people that had bad credit with no money down. So someone with bad credit and no money down, they'll buy this was 2008, they'd buy a $500,000 house or more, and if they couldn't make the payments, what do they care? They just let it go in foreclosure, and they stay in it for as long as they can until the sheriff comes and kicks them out. And that is what caused the financial crisis of 2008, was giving people free houses, which is what they're talking about doing in California right now. My goodness, that's not like history. That's recent stuff, right? 2008. And the Democrats are about to do it again because that's how they roll, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really sick what they're doing, and what they're doing is setting up another major financial crisis. But it's another example of the Democrats. They don't care about that. All they care about are not Americans, but South Americans. So if they can make their dreamers happy, that's all they care about. It's disgusting. Isn't it communism? Yeah, it is a form of communism. I mean, it's not the same kind of communism they had in the Soviet Union, right? But it's a form of communism, no doubt about it. And Bill Maher is very uncomfortable with it, but he doesn't want to disappoint Nancy, does he? Mm-hmm. All right. I don't mind people that have different opinions, but no spamming, please, if you don't mind. No spamming. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And everyone who's already subbed, please like the video. Liking the video helps grow the community, grow the channel. I appreciate if you guys would do that. Love from Australia, praying for Trump in 2024 from Australia. Well, welcome, and thank you, because Australia needs Trump as much as we do, right? So this Texas state rep who has left the Democrat Party to become a Republican, this is an amazing story. Oh, another Australian BB Glass in Sydney. Welcome, welcome. A Texas state representative, she left the Dems to become a Republican, and she did it at this Moms for Liberty event. And this is what she said. She says, "I cannot in good conscience support policies like promoting sex changes for vulnerable children." You know, there are certain things in life that are permanent, and one of them is sex change. Gender, what do they call it? Gender affirming care, or I don't know, they got all kinds of names. Sex change operation. I mean, that's irreversible. Irreversible. And it used to be, they've been doing these sex change operations since like the 50s, 60s. There was somebody that used to run around on all the talk shows in the 60s, Jorgensen, okay? And there was one person in the 80s, I cannot remember their name, but they somehow got into a James Bond movie as a Bond girl and used to go on TV shows all the time talking about it. And the way it used to work, there was a very long process before they would actually do the sex change operation. They weren't that common, and there was a huge process that a person had to go through. That took a year or more before they would do the surgery, because it's irreversible. And those were on adults. I mean, you think about it. When you were a kid, what did you want to be? I mean, Evel Knievel. I had a friend who wanted to be Evel Knievel. Me and my friends, we used to have our dirt bikes, and we used to jump ramps and do stuff because we were Evel Knievel. I wanted to be Luke Skywalker. What did you guys want to be growing up? I mean, do you want to be Evel Knievel now? And who wants to be Mark Hamill now? He looks like hell, and he's a liberal jerk, right? But, when someone's a child, you don't do something like that. That is a permanent, lifelong decision. That's irreversible. It's insane. And it's just not right. It's not coming out as gay. It's getting a irreversible surgery done, and it's a big mistake. I mean, would you let your kid get a tattoo? Would you let your 10-year-old get a tattoo on their arm or their face, their head? No, of course you wouldn't. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why, because it's irreversible. Yeah. So this Democrat that now has become a Republican, that's a good thing. I'm thinking of seeing the Ronald Reagan movie today. I've not been to a movie, I don't think, in 5 years in the theater. So I'm looking. Let me see what time it's playing. If it's playing at the theaters close to me, I'll see. Let's see. Yeah, when's the last time you guys been to a movie theater? It's been a while, huh? Let's see. Okay. The one closest to my house, let's see if what is playing. No, I haven't seen a movie in the theater. It's got to be 2019. I wish it was playing earlier. Okay. It's playing at a couple theaters by my house. I want to check out one more. Maybe I can get into an earlier showing. I like to see movies early, especially when it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. So the earlier, the better. Let's see. Are you guys going to see Reagan? Let's see. Well. Let's see. Okay, well, it's playing at pretty much the same time at every theater, Reagan. You can't watch. Well, is Dennis Quaid and John Voight and Reagan, the Hollywood elite. The last movie I saw was the last Star Wars movie. So whenever that was, I think that was around 2019. The Reagan movie is out. It's playing now. It's been so long since I've been to a movie theater. I think I might make a YouTube video, a vlog for my other YouTube channel, my vlogging channel, going to a movie theater. It's been so long. When's the last time? I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, most definitely. So, yeah, go see Reagan today. Everything I've seen about it looks great. That's why there's so much suppression. They don't want a movie out that people will see and talk about that makes Ronald Reagan look good. But, yeah, if I do a vlog, I'll do it on my other channel. Or maybe I'll do it on this channel. I don't know. Since it's the Reagan movie, should I do the vlog going to see Reagan on this channel or my vlogging channel? I saw E.T. in the theater. I saw Star Wars in the theater, man, in 1977. Saving Private Ryan. Oh, my goodness, Kevin. What's that, like 90 what? Jumper. I remember Jumper. Forgotten film. Dennis Quaid's been doing great talking about this movie. Yeah, Trolls. Hey, many of people have been red-pilled from my broadcast. So there's a new poll, interactive polls, out of Michigan. And Kamala's been ahead in Michigan in the last few polls. The latest poll has Trump ahead 47-46 against Kamala. And that's really a gain because she was like 3 points ahead. So he's gained like 4 points in Michigan. And that's not even factoring in the interview the other night, which was just a disaster for her on CNN. The crowd in Pennsylvania was massive. Platoon, my gosh, you guys don't get out much, do you? Interactive Polls also has, if you go to Interactive Polls on X, Nate Silver's prediction right now, nationally, is Trump with a 53% versus Kamala 46% chance of winning nationally. Trump now 53.1. That's landslide territory right there, guys. Nate Silver is the gold standard. He is the one that is looked upon as the predictor of everything. Now, the media will forget about that, right? They'll forget about that because now Nate Silver's, showing Trump winning. So you may not see many Nate Silver quotes in the news coming up, but that is amazing. 53.1 to Kamala's 46.6. There you got it. Nate Silver predicting Donald Trump winning. And it's getting worse for her. I mean, that interview the other night was brutal. What did she even say in that? What did she offer? And she's got this thing that she's trying to make like her campaign slogan. We have to move forward. Move forward, sticking with the same administration isn't moving forward. That's staying the same. Right? Moving forward would be Trump because they're in the White House right now. That makes no sense. Oh yeah, you're not going to be hearing too much of Nate Silver with something like that going on. But President Trump was on fire last night in Pennsylvania. I loved it. And I must tell you, I know I say this a lot with his speeches, but this speech was definitely right up there, one of his best ever. No doubt about it. And let me play a couple clips. And this is one that I agree with. I think you guys will agree with this one too.
We should give a 1-year sentence in jail to anybody that burns the American flag. We should do that. Mike,
Yeah.
do it, Mike.
What do you guys think? What would happen if you go out and burn the gay flag? They charge you with a hate crime. In fact, there was a story about a month ago. They painted a gay pride mural in a street, and some guys were drag racing on the street and put tire marks on the gay flag pride thing that they painted on the street where cars drive, and they were trying to track them down to charge them with a hate crime. It was on the street cars drive over it, but they put it got tire tracks on it. They were charging. If you burn the American flag, what you're really saying is burn down America. I mean, look at who does it. Who has burned an American flag that you've seen that loves America? Yeah, that's right. Drag racing. They were drag racing. That's right. And in the past, I hadn't really thought about sending people to jail that do that, but I agree now. Yes. Yeah, it's inciting of violence, really, burning the American flag, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Do you guys, yes or no, should 1 year in jail mandatory for burning the American flag? You have to be more specific than just burning, because they'll find other ways to destroy it if you just say burning. Yeah. I'm not sure how you would word it. You know? Because if you say they go to jail for burning it, they'll cut it up with scissors or do something else to it. Yeah, so you got to think of another. It has to be more specific than that. You just can't say burning it, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't write, so I don't know. Any lawyers in there? How would you write that legislation? Here's another clip. President Trump in Pennsylvania. Great speech last night.
I knew there was a problem when they started ripping down a statue of Abraham Lincoln. I said, they're going to take down the statue of Lincoln? I don't think so. We're not going to let that happen. And we've got to be tough, because if you see what's happening in Aurora, Colorado today, did you see that? Where Venezuelan gang members have taken over parts of the city. They've taken over apartment houses because these stupid people that we have leading our country are allowing these people, these criminals, to come into our country, and we're going to get them the hell out of here. And this is just the beginning. Wait till you see what happens. Wait till you see what they're doing.
That's right. These videos are frightening, because there was a story I had yesterday. It's on my X somewhere, but I was talking about it yesterday. There was a local city council person who said that there are people in that building that are being held prisoner by these Venezuelan gangs with the tattoos on their heads and everything. These are some scary guys. I mean, they're like ISIS scary. It's like having ISIS and Al-Qaeda come in and take over. They are some scary guys, and people live in those buildings. And, of course, in Colorado, unfortunately, they're run by a bunch of liberal lunatics that have been inviting all these people here. One of the reasons that Democrats support all this stupidity like that is because the local officials, they get paid. The local governments get all kinds of money when they're a sanctuary city. The kids are in school, the medical system, all kinds of stuff. And they get paid. They get paybacks, and they pay off their donors with whatever government contracts are coming out of being a sanctuary city by having all the illegals there. There's, as corrupt as the federal government is, the local governments are worse. Right? Good old boys club. Now, if you'd like to support my content, a great way to do that is to go to mypillow.com, use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can save up to 80% off top MyPillow products. The MyPillow that started it all is just $19.98 with my promo code Kane. Free shipping on orders over $75. But there's a huge special going on just for Labor Day weekend. The MyPillow mattress is 50% off. Plus, for Labor Day weekend, you get another $100 off of that. My wife and I just 2 weeks ago bought a MyPillow mattress. We got 50% off. You're going to get it cheaper than we got ours. It is spectacular. We love it. I didn't think Mike Lindell could improve my sleep anymore till I got that MyPillow mattress. 50% off and another $100 off of that with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. You'll love it. And that's just a Labor Day special, the extra $100 off. So take advantage of it this Labor Day weekend. So here's another clip. This is President Trump in Pennsylvania.
If you look at Kamala and you look at what she's done to every place she's touched has turned to shit. Every single place she's touched.
Yeah. Now, if you disagree with that, can you name something she touched that hasn't turned to S? Can you think of something? No, you can't, can you? Especially now. I mean, the whole country's going to hell with this leadership. It is kind. Well, hey, listen, he's running for president of the United States. He has to reserve the F words, for extra special occasions. Plus, there's kids there. Did you see there was a kid? I saw him on Right Side Broadcasting. My wife saw it. I was out running some errands, and she sent it to me. It was amazing. This was on Right Side Broadcasting. Before the speech, when they're talking to people outside, there was a kid, little kid, dressed like Trump. He had a wig, a suit, and everything on, dressed like Trump. And then he had his two little friends with him. They were like 8 years old, and they were dressed like Secret Service guys. Did you see those guys? And the guy from Right Side said, "What's your name?" He says, "George Bush." And then, I'm sorry, Donald Trump. And then I'm getting like Biden. I'm slipping, guys. And then George Bush is my next topic I was going to talk about. I was looking at a story about this. He said Donald Trump, and then he goes to the his little friends being the Secret Service guys, and they were talking about what it's like providing security for Trump. It was amazing. Now, this thing about George Bush, it started coming out about 2 days ago that George Bush was thinking about, George W. Bush, endorsing Kamala Harris. I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, George W. Bush, in the last election and in the election before with Hillary, George W. Bush was very vocal about not supporting Trump. And he was very vocal about it. In fact, when his dad was alive, he was speaking for both of them. So the idea of George W. Bush coming out and supporting Kamala Harris is not that far-fetched. I know when that story first started being talked about a couple days ago, people said, George W. Bush, he'll never do that. The last two elections, he said he wasn't voting for Trump. Okay? What does that mean? That means he was voting for Hillary and he voted for Biden. So why would he not do it again? And when he said he wasn't voting for Trump in the past two elections, that was an endorsement for Hillary Clinton by George W. Bush and an endorsement for Biden. It's really disgusting because I know a lot of you out there like me, we supported George W. Bush. I didn't know that he was lying and he was a war criminal and all that stuff. Now we know. And all of us that are on the Trump train supported George W. Bush through some very difficult times that he went through, and he was lying to us. He's a war criminal. He is a very bad, evil man. He is responsible for so much death. My wife and I, we donate to Wounded Warriors and Tunnels for Towers. You see those commercials on TV? Every time I see one of those stories of Tunnels to Towers or Wounded Warriors, and you see these guys, great guys, they can't speak, they're missing limbs, they're all burned up, and they have a young family, a pretty wife, kids, I think of George Bush, right? And you go to these last two elections, and he says that he's not voting for Trump. That's an endorsement. So I don't think it's far-fetched that George Bush would come out this time and again say he's not voting for Trump, which means he's voting for Kamala. He's a terrible person. He really is a terrible, bad man. Far worse than I ever would have imagined. I mean, he is as low gets, George W. Bush. Really disgusting. His brother, too, but he's really bad. Yeah, exactly. I mean, aren't you guys disgusted by George W. Bush? I am. But he doesn't care. He's insignificant. He is now. He is now, because the Republican establishment has faded away. They've been deposed by the Trump family. When the Trump family took over the RNC, that was it for the Bushes and the Karl Roves and all of them. They're out. The Trumps control the RNC. That means the establishment is officially gone and out. So this is another clip of President Trump in Pennsylvania last night.
From the moment we take back the White House from Kamala and Crooked Joe, we're going to have 4 of the greatest years in the history of our country. It's going to happen. We're going to get it done fast. Starting on day 1, I will seal the border and stop the migrant invasion into our country. We will carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. We have no choice.
Oh, the deportation. You know, the media, when President Trump starts the deportations next year, all you're going to see on CNN and MSNBC are the trains to Auschwitz. You know? Of course, there's a couple major differences between those deportations and the ones Trump's going to do. One, they're not being deported to death camps to be exterminated. That's a big one. And the other one is they were deporting people from their own countries. All right? They weren't deporting people in their country illegally. They were deporting their own citizens. Big difference, which is what the left would like to do to us MAGA people, right? But the deportations are going to be more popular than people imagine. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And, you know, when he shuts down the border, how long do you think it'll take President Trump to finish the wall? How long do you think? Do you think it's possible for the wall to be finished in the first 100 days of his second term? I think it is. I mean, you know, he's a builder by trade. And the wall's easy to build compared to the stuff he does in his business. I think it'll be quick, and he'll just order it done. Yeah, I think in the first 100 days it'll be pretty much be done. I mean, that's a big deal, and he's not going to worry about funding through Congress and all that stuff unless we got major control in both houses and they could just pass it through. But if the Congress gives him any crap, he'll just order the army to do it. It'll be done quick. The Great Wall of Trump. Absolutely. Why didn't he finish it the first time? Because Congress held up the funding for it. You know, that's why. They were doing everything they could do to stop him from building the damn thing. And after it started, they were doing everything they could do to stop him from finishing it. But it'll be done. It'll be done. Here's another clip. This is Trump last night in Pennsylvania. Charles, $10 super chat. Thank you. The damage is done. No, it can be reversed. We're not that deep in yet.
When I return to the White House, I will also stop the indoctrination of your children and protect your parents' rights.
Yeah. You know, when I was in school in the 70s and in the 80s, we had the bicentennial in 76, so you know, there was a huge sense of American patriotism and everything. And guys my age, our grandfathers were in World War II and everything else. So there was a sense of Americanism and patriotism that's been totally lost. To be pro-American is to be a member of a hate group, according to the left. And what we really need is a massive recruitment drive through Charlie Kirk at Turning Point of young people into school teachers. That's what we need. You know, Charlie Kirk has done amazing work, and he works with high school and college kids is where he does most of his activism, and doing a major recruitment among the Turning Point USA crowd to be school teachers. Could you imagine what a change that would have in 10 years as they become administrators? And it would be huge. And also, we need a major drive of MAGA people on school boards, too. But like we have here in Florida. I mean, we've got a lot of MAGA school boards in Florida. But we need that nationally because that's where the brainwashing has begun. Charlie Kirk's amazing. What he has done is absolutely amazing. Mexico paid for the wall. President Trump renegotiated NAFTA. And when he renegotiated NAFTA, so it was a fair trade agreement, that's how he got them to pay for it. So, no, Mexico did, in fact, pay for the wall. No doubt about it. They didn't literally write a check and then in the memo write, for the wall. Charles Xavier, $2 super chat, thank you. It's good versus evil. Nothing else matters. Absolutely, Charles. Now, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I live stream every day. This is the most pro-Donald Trump channel you will find anywhere, not just on YouTube, but anywhere. You'll never hear me disagree nor criticize President Trump, ever, ever. Not that he's done anything that I disagree with or would criticize. I mean, He's amazing, but you'll never hear that here. Okay, here's President Trump talking about Willie Brown's girlfriend, Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, a Marxist, and we must stop her country-destroying liberal agenda once and for all. We have to stop it. And I think a lot of things are happening. Look, people are seeing who she is. All you had to do is watch yesterday. Give me a break. That's not a president. That's not a president. That's not a president. And we can't let that person destroy our country. So get your friends, get your family, register, volunteer, and get the hell out to vote, okay? Front row Joe.
You hear that? Yeah, that's right. Swamp them. You know, that interview on CNN, I did a whole live stream about that yesterday morning. So if you guys watch that, I go into detail. That was the most disastrous interview a nominee of a major party for president of the United States has ever given. The worst interview ever. The most destructive. The most self-destructive. Everything about that interview, it was just worse than the things she said before. And Tim Walz, whose brother is supporting Trump now, Tim Walz, his own brother, that was... So then after his speech in Pennsylvania, President Trump, which was just spectacular, he went and had to sit down on stage with the Moms for Liberty. Here's some of that.
Apparently, you don't have to take any interviews.
That's right. You don't have to do anything. We saw that the other night. And you won't see too many more interviews. And I have a debate coming up with this one. And she didn't want to debate. She didn't want to debate. They were not happy about it, but they got the network that they wanted. This network is the worst of all. George Slopadopoulos, you know who he is.
I love that one.
But they are the worst in terms of that. So they wanted the network. And, you know, it was like with Biden. They came to me, they wanted to do a debate. I said, isn't it a little bit early? Like, you know, we just started. Do you want to do it now? And yes, so yes. And they thought that if they said it was going to be Dana Bash, who last night was extremely easy. There was no like, why aren't you doing this? Or why did you say 1,000 times that there'll be no fracking in Pennsylvania, and then all of a sudden say, oh, we'll have fracking?
It felt like a multiple choice quiz. She would give her like several answers that she could have given.
Yeah, they were feeding it to. I was surprised, actually. I mean, I was surprised.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people about the Kamala interview with Dana Bash, a lot of people have been analyzing how she responded. And she was very different, little off. She was saying things that were out of her normal way of speaking and everything else. And a lot of people have been talking that she may have had an earpiece hidden under her hair during that CNN interview, somebody feeding her answers. And if you go back and watch it, her word choice, her sentence structure, everything was much different than you would normally get from Kamala Harris. And yeah, she was sober. That was the big part. But really, President Trump with this ABC debate should insist that her hair is behind her ears so you can see her ears to make sure there's no earpiece in there. Because I don't trust her to come out without an earpiece. Here's another clip. This is President Trump with the Moms for Liberty talking about the Venezuelan gangs in Colorado.
And you see what's going on in Colorado. I don't know if anybody got to see Aurora. I mean, they're taking over the city. They're taking over apartment complexes. These are young, very tough people. These are tough. They make our criminals look nice. That's the only thing good about them. Our criminals are like nice people by comparison. And if you saw the Colorado thing, and this is happening all over, just not Colorado, but the Colorado thing caught the imagination because there were many of them.
Yeah, and they've got the videos inside the apartment building so we can see it. It's monstrous. It's monstrous. And, you know, it backs up what President Trump has been talking about, that they're emptying out their jails and their prisons with their violent criminals, and they are. You see it everywhere, you know. And the liberals, well, they don't seem to care that much. But yesterday, Trump is, you know, I just, yesterday with Trump, both in the speech in Pennsylvania and the sit-down with Moms for Liberty, he just had a confidence about him. He's always confident, but just had a confidence about him that he's got it locked up. You know, that's it. Here's another clip. Here he is talking about Trump derangement syndrome.
We'd love to get some advice from you about running for office.
Yeah, so I would say don't do it.
No, run for office. We want you to run for office.
I do say this, though. It is nastier to run as a Republican than it is. Now, I'm the ultimate, they suffer from a thing called TDS. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
TDS, it's a horrible, horrible terminal disease. It destroys the mind. It destroys the mind before the body, but the body eventually goes. TDS is Trump derangement syndrome. They have it at levels. They can't even stand their life. They can't stand anything. And, part of the reason is I won an election, which...
Yeah. And I don't think I've ever heard him talk about it quite like that before. I've heard him mention it a few times. But have you ever heard him really talk about it like that? That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we should start wearing like a ribbon to raise money to try to help people that suffer from it. I don't know. I think it's a lost cause for most of them. No, it's pretty funny. He was great yesterday. He was great. Does he look like he's got to worry? So many people, so many of our MAGA brothers and sisters are just in a panic about whether or not Trump's going to win. Does he look like he's got to worry in the world, President Trump? On top of the election, he's facing this corrupt judge in New York, sentencing him to prison next month, maybe. And when he was on stage with Moms for Liberty, he was sitting in a chair, and he was just as relaxed as you could be in that chair. Just totally relaxed. Does he look like he's got a worry in the world? None at all. So if Trump's not worried, you shouldn't be worried, is what I'm saying, right? Exactly. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. Everyone, please like the video if you don't mind. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen that Twitter banned in Brazil. I'm sure they'll find a way around it. Is there a way around it with a VPN down there? I'm sure they'll find a way. But that's what they want to do here. This is what the Democrats want to do here, like they do in Iran. They want to shut down things online that they don't like. And here is Willie Brown's girlfriend herself, Kamala Harris, talking about shutting down X.
He has lost his privileges, and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
Oh, all this free speech, all this First Amendment. I like how she says this. They're talking without any listen to this.
Directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
All this free speech has got to stop. That's insane. That's what happens when you're raised by Marxists in Canada. Right? That's exactly what that is. I know. That's nuts. I mean, this is, that's like...
Directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
Oh, my goodness. Think about what would be going on right now if Elon Musk had not bought Twitter and turned it into X. The Twitter overlords would be shutting all this stuff I talk about, all the articles I read, videos I like and things. I post them all on my X, Brian Craig Show, if you want to follow me there. Brian Craig Show on X, Twitter, whatever you're calling it. And like this clip right here, I just retweeted the video of that clip on X. If the old people, the Dorsey crowd, were running Twitter still, and Elon had not bought it and turned it into X, all these things would be banned from Twitter. It'd be banned. Kamala would not be exposed like she's being, or would Walls. All the stolen valor from Walls, for example, they would have suppressed all of that, just like the laptop. Yeah, we would know very little, and we wouldn't be able to share it anywhere. That's exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. All this free speech, it's got to stop. It's just that's what she says. This is crazy. Elon Musk tweeted this clip. This is Kamala Harris with Anderson Cooper.
You look at what he's been tweeting today, directed at the whistleblower, directed at so many people. I frankly think that based on this and all we've seen him do before, including attacking members of Congress, that he frankly his Twitter account should be suspended. He is irresponsible with his words in a way that could result in harm to other people. And so the privilege of using the...
Meanwhile, she's bringing rapists and murderers into America, but Trump's a danger with his words.
His words in that way should probably be taken from him. Should probably be taken from him. Should probably be taken from him. He has lost his privileges and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation.
I think we need to push back.
This is Tim Walz, by the way, is next. This is a montage that Elon Musk tweeted last night. So next is Tim Walz.
Of oversight or regulation.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech.
Wow, there's no guarantee on free speech on misinformation or hate speech. Well, who's to decide what's misinformation and what's hateful? Tim Walz?
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
I know you wrote to Twitter and the CEO, Jack Dorsey, and asked him to take away the president's Twitter handle, his account. How is that not a violation of free speech? I mean, the president has the same rights that you have, I have, and how would that not just be a slippery slope? Or
I've heard that argument, but here's the thing, Jake. First of all, a corporation, which is what Twitter is, it does not have it has obligations, and in this case, Twitter has terms of use policy, and their terms of use dictate who receives the privilege of speaking on that platform and who does not. And Donald Trump has clearly violated the terms of use, and there should be a consequence for that. Not to mention the fact that he has used his platform, being the president of the United States, in a way that has been about inciting fear and potentially inciting harm against a witness to what might be a crime against our country and our democracy. And for that reason, I do believe that it's clear that he has violated the terms of use, and I'm asking that Twitter does what it has done in previous occasions, which is to revoke someone's privilege.
Okay, she's talking about Vindman. Here you got Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, who should be in Leavenworth for the rest of his life, at least 20 years, who reports the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, on that Zelensky phone call to the inspector general and gets him impeached. And Trump commenting on it on Twitter is somehow a violation, and he shouldn't be allowed to do that. That's how the liberals think. Now, this was insane. Bill Maher had this Columbia professor on. His name's Professor John McWhorter, and he's talking about Kamala Harris and her gobbledygook way of speaking. She says the same thing over like 3 or 4 times. And so Bill Maher brought on this left-wing professor from Columbia who tells us that that's actually amazing what she's doing. Listen.
Have to listen to her in the right way. She actually has learned a really effective way of speaking smoothly. She does these triplets, and she'll say the ambitions, the hopes, and the aspirations of the American people. Those 3 things are really all the same. The reason she did it is not because she's stuttering, it's because that is her way of not saying She's avoiding saying or hesitating. She wanted to say aspirations, and then she'll give the synonyms as she waits. That's a form of being articulate, or if you watched her last night.
Her stupidity is a form of her being articulate.
Watched her last night, then you could see that what she was really doing was she wanted to do two things. She wanted to talk about economic policy. She had a list in her head, and she wanted to keep saying, you got the feeling she had been told and she agreed that we can't look backwards. Anything else that Bash said to her, her thought was, how can I bring it back to that? And that meant that you couldn't listen to her like she was trying to write an article or something like that. What you say isn't always what you mean. She speaks ritualistically like a politician. If somebody asks you, do you have the time? Your answer is not, I do. If you, do you have the time? Right. Yes, it's 4 o'clock. Well, you have to understand that words don't always mean what they mean.
Wow. So she's actually very articulate. Columbia University professor says so. These people are out of their freaking minds, guys. That's what President Trump says. We got to stop the brainwashing. That guy teaches students in a college with that stupidity. Oh my goodness. Yes. No, she's not ignorant. That's an example of her, how articulate that she is. She's very articulate. You just don't understand. She has a very clever way of speaking. She's so articulate. It sounds like gibberish, but it's actually not. Yeah, that's gaslighting. Yeah. That's an example of something I talk about a lot of times is too much education. They over-intellectualize pretty much everything that you can imagine. I mean, that's one of the dumbest statements I've ever heard anyone make. And I've seen a lot of lunatic college professors. The only college professor I've heard that was dumber than that was that guy after 9/11 that was calling that was supporting the attack. Remember that guy? I forgot his name. O'Reilly had him on a lot. Now, this is an interesting thing here. This is Bobby Kennedy, and he gave an interview, and he was talking about. Let me read this tweet, and I'll play the audio, okay? Robert Kennedy Jr. said President Trump admitted to him that he wasn't prepared to be president in 2016. I guess, he wasn't expecting to win. And that Project 2025's creators are right-wing a-holes. Listen to this.
If President Trump wins, that people are going to see very different President Trump than they did during the first term. I think he's changed as a person. And I've known him for, 30 years. I've sued him. I've litigated against him.
Sued him.
And had a friendship with him, even when I was litigating against him. And, by the way, successfully against him.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, so Trump derangement syndrome, you can't overcome it. He sued President Trump, and now he's back at him.
But I think he is... he's focused on his legacy. He said many interesting things to me about what he did wrong the last time and about how... He filled his, he had no idea he was going to win. He had no idea how to govern, and people descended on him the day that he got elected and said, you got to appoint this guy. And he said, I appointed a lot of people I shouldn't have appointed. I know who they are now. He also said something.
Now, that's an interesting thing. Trump said, I know who they are now. When you are new to politics and you become president, right? You've got to fill thousands of positions and hundreds of top, very important positions. Who do you know how do you know who to hire? And I think it's amazing that he admits that, and also that's right. He knows who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. He knows who he can trust and knows who he can't trust.
Something interesting to me is that because the Democrats, one of the big sort of fulcrums of their terror of Trump is that he's going to implement this Heritage Foundation, blueprint, which is called Project 2025. And he brought this issue up to me, and he said, they're always telling me I'm for Project 2025. I never read Project 2025 until they started accusing me of it. He said, I was written by a right-wing ass. This is what he said.
Okay. So he called the guy that wrote Project 2025 an a-hole. So can we stop with this constant MSNBC reporting fake news that he's behind Project 2025? Wasn't that amazing? Exactly. Now, Tim Walz's brother has said some interesting things. This is Tim Walz's brother. Listen to this. Who lives in Florida? Not in my part of Florida, but he lives in Florida. The brother of Governor Tim. This is in Breitbart. The brother of Governor Tim Walz revealed that Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate is not the type of character you want making decisions about your future. This is the man's brother. So, if you're not with Trump and you're supporting Harris and Walz, Walz's own brother says you can't trust this guy. If his own brother says don't vote for him, how can you? In a Facebook post from March 2023, Jeff Walz, one of the Minnesota governor's siblings, responded to comments from people telling him to talk to his brother and to help MAGA. We've just become a third world banana republic, Jeff Walz wrote in his post at the time. One of the commenters on his post told Jeff Walz to have a talk with his brother. Tim Walz's brother says, I haven't spoken to him in 8 years. I'm opposed to all of his ideology. My family wasn't given any notice that he was selected and denied security the days after. And another comment, a person told Walz's brother to help MAGA and get on stage with President Trump and endorse him. Help save this country, the poster added. And this is Jeff Walz, who's Tim Walz's brother, right? This is the brother of Tampon Tim Walz. I've thought hard about doing something like that, Jeff Walz responded. I'm torn between that and just keeping my family out of it. The stories I could tell, not the type of character you want making decisions about your future. Now, I think if there's some pretty serious stuff he's bringing up here, I think he has a duty to share what these stories are. Walz, who was named Kamala's running mate, has faced criticism and accusations of stolen valor. It goes on and on about all of his stolen valor stuff, which I've talked about quite a bit. But if the man's own brother says, don't vote for him, don't support him, how can you, right? How can anybody? Now, J.D. Vance, every time I see J.D. Vance on television, my first thought is, boy, oh boy, did Trump not make the best choice? I mean, J.D. Vance is the political apprentice. President Trump has chosen him to be the political. Let me pause this. This is amazing. This is amazing, this exchange on CNN. The guy that's interviewing him on CNN, I don't know his name, but I call him Blue Steel because he does this thing with his lips, like Ben Stiller in Zoolander. Remember, Zoolander does that look with his lips. J.D. Vance, unless he screws up over the next 4 years, will be our second MAGA president. 4 years from now, I'll be here on YouTube, sitting on my back porch, talking about voting for J.D. Vance, unless he screws up, right? Which I'm not planning on him doing. But this is J.D. Vance. He's on with Blue Steel here on CNN. And have you ever seen that meme, that video meme with the with Mario Lopez, with the beauty pageant girl that's as dumb as a donut? He posted that video meme, and Blue Steel here is very upset about it.
Night after CNN released a small clip of the Harris interview, you on Twitter posted a clip from a Miss Teen USA beauty pageant from 2007, Caitlin Upton, and you wrote, I have gotten a hold of the full Kamala Harris CNN interview. Now, this thing that surfaced around the internet for a few years, she had, she struggled.
Now, let me pause it. He said he's gotten a hold of the rest of the interview, and then he put the clip up of her, which that's pretty funny. You guys have all seen it, right?
The internet for a few years. She had, she struggled answering a question back in this beauty pageant. I'm not sure you're aware, in 2015, Caitlin Upton did an interview in New York Magazine about all the social media attention this clip got, and she said, I definitely went through a period where I was very, very depressed, but I never let anybody see that stuff except for people I could trust. I had some very dark moments where I thought about committing suicide.
Oh.
So when you posted this last night, were you aware that the woman you were posting a picture of had contemplated committing suicide for the attention it received?
Okay, so this is CNN telling J.D. Vance that he is driving this girl to suicide. If his post on X is driving her to suicide, here's CNN not only referenced the clip, they said her name on CNN, which is, which is a worldwide broadcast, are they not doing the same thing? But J.D. Vance, let me rewind it a bit. And then J.D. Vance's response was beautiful. He handles these left-wing jerks in the media so well.
Everybody see that stuff except for people I could trust. I had some very dark moments where I thought about committing suicide. So when you posted this last night, were you aware that the woman you were posting a picture of had contemplated committing suicide for the attention it received?
No, certainly not, John, and my heart goes out to her, and I hope that she's doing well. Look, I've said a lot of things on camera. I've said a lot of stupid things on camera. Sometimes when you're in the public eye, you make mistakes, and again, I think the best way to deal with it is to laugh at ourselves, laugh at this stuff, and try to have some fun in politics. I posted a meme from 20 years ago, and I think the fact that we're talking about that instead of the fact that American families can't afford groceries or health care, young families can't afford to buy a home to raise their families in, those are the real crises that we should focus on, and there's nothing that says that we can't tell some jokes along the way while we deal with the very serious business of bringing back our public policy. Politics has gotten way too lame, John, way too boring. You can have some fun while making a good argument to the American people about how you're going to improve their lives.
Okay, I just want to be clear, though. You said you did know. Would you like to apologize to Caitlin Upton for posting that last night?
Hey, he said her name again to CNN, but JD's driving her to suicide.
From what you've now learned?
John, I'm not going to apologize for posting a joke, but I wish the best for Caitlin. I hope that she's doing well. And again, what I'd say is one bad moment shouldn't define anybody, and the best way to deal with this stuff is to laugh at ourselves.
Okay, CNN. This is what is he not great? He handles them with pure just perfection. You can't handle these liberals in the media better than J.D. Vance. Now, as I'm queuing up the next story and clip I want to play, if you'd like to support my channel, great way to do that. Go to mypillow.com, use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and buy something. You can save up to 80% off of top MyPillow products. The MyPillow towels that I dried off with this morning when I got out of the shower, just $25 for the 6-piece MyPillow towel set with my promo code Kane. The MyPillow that started it all, $19.98 with my promo code Kane. Great deals, huh? Absolutely. Plus, free shipping on orders over $75. There's a Labor Day weekend mattress sale going on. Now, my wife and I got a MyPillow mattress about 2 weeks ago. You're going to get yours for less money than we got ours for. We got ours for 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. But now, for Labor Day weekend only, Mike Lindell is adding another $100 off the 50% off. So you get 50% off plus another $100 off your My Pillow mattress with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And every time you use that promo code, you're supporting my channel and all my content. So thanks for your support. So MSNBC puts together a focus group, and as liberals, what do? They put together a focus group of people that they think will give them the answers that they want to hear. And they go to a woman who is biracial and asks her opinion as a biracial person of Kamala Harris. Listen.
Do you feel some kinship towards her as a mixed person?
Not personally. I find a lot of her trajectory to not be my brand of woman leader. We've got 3 major international crises going on and someone applying to be commander-in-chief. As a woman, I want to see you do more than, appeal to giggling and having a girl moment on the stage.
Wow. I mean, MSNBC, how racist of MSNBC. Well, you're biracial. You obviously support Kamala Harris, don't you? She's biracial. You're biracial. Don't you? You must support her. And they're really shocked that they're not supporting her. It's pretty bad, isn't it? I mean, that's how Democrats are. Exactly. This is another time, okay? Things like this don't matter anymore. People are struggling to buy food. They're struggling to put gas in their car. They're struggling to buy new clothes and shoes for their kids and school supplies that are just back in school. These other things they don't care about. They don't care about the Green New Deal, all this climate crap that they're always pushing towards us. They just need their money to go further. And Kamala says, screw you, right? We're going to nationalize the entire food industry from the farm to the grocery store and drive prices up even higher. Now, if you're from South America, everything's free. You don't have to worry. So, but you're biracial. She's biracial. Don't you feel a kinship? That's so insane. I remember when my daughter was a kid, we were watching one of the kid shows. I can't remember if it was like iCarly or something. I was watching with my daughter when she was a little kid. And it might have been like The Sweet Life or something like that, one of those shows with those twin boys. It was one of those shows. I'm watching with my daughter, and there was a guest star who was in a wheelchair. And one of the characters says, my cousin, whatever his name is, he's in a wheelchair. Do you know him? And he's like, yeah, I know all the people that are in wheelchairs, right? It's so stupid. To go up to someone and say, she's brown, you're brown, don't you feel a bond? Don't you feel a kinship? That is as racist gets. But then, but it's MSNBC. What do you... The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. I used to watch that with my daughter. And then it was Sweet Life on Deck after that when they were on the cruise ship. That's exactly right. Now, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. You'll very much enjoy my channel, I promise. And if you're already subbed, if you could do me the favor of liking the video. Liking the video helps a lot, guys, okay? There over 20,000 have been watching the stream this morning so far, over 20,000. And only a fraction of you have liked the video. So if you all could like the video, that helps a lot, guys. It really does. It helps a lot. It helps grow the channel and grow the community and everything else, and I would very much appreciate it. So subscribe and like the video. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Howie just gifted 5 memberships. Thanks, Howie. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for